All right, Danny, let's get rolling here. I'll fix my camera. There we go. I have 2 different lighting setups because having the, like, stage lights on for the entire game, yeah, but yeah, after game 1, I felt like my overwhelming takeaway, other than the fact that the Pacers blew it, was that they can play with these guys, and I didn't love the answers that Boston had defensively for them, and they did do better once Drew Holiday switched on to Haliburton, but Al Horford is kind of a problem for them, and the fast break I thought was a little bit of a problem. It's just the statistics liked what Boston did. My eyes didn't, particularly in the first. So I think this is going to be a competitive series, if not a close one. I guess we'll see.
We will see. And I like you, I think that the Celtics will struggle to defend the Pacers. I do wonder though, like you have the variance, like if Boston can get enough offense in this game, which I think they can, then they can still, make this a comfortable win, even if I expect it to be close.
Yeah, Horford versus Turner. Turner was fantastic offensively in game 1 and stolen by Nemhard. Nice play there. And the Pacers will get into their ATO. It is Holiday starting off on Haliburton. He directs traffic. Siakam, now they get into it finally. Turner trying to cut across Jaylen Brown, wasn't really open. Now it's Nemhard turning the corner. He goes in, beautiful manipulation of the defense, and Siakam, he's gotten a lot of dunks.
And that was an overhelp to me from Al Horford. I think that his initial drive was relatively well contained.
Yeah, that was a nice little play with a lot of dummy action, though. Now they're going to go right at Haliburton again. Oh, beautiful play, but Neesmith stepped with it enough, and Tatum missing the layup, tipped by Turner, almost in, loose, and now Holiday has it. Brown will fire from the right wing, and he picks up where he left off, shooting the 3 ball with that great game winner in game 1. Siakam right back, and he has been devastating from mid-range the last 3 games or so. Now White stepping behind at the mesh point of that handoff, but can't get that to go. White dominated the first 6 games or so, but has not done that since. Now Siakam had the separation, but didn't bring the ball with him. Began a helter-skelter feel to the beginning of this one. Kick out. Horford is wide open. He was only 3 of 12 in game 1. You and I felt like they should have forced him to shoot even more. Now Turner in transition over Tatum. Quick release. Again, this has been a withering early pace.
And good to see the Pacers defending the right channel of the transition lane, which they didn't do at the beginning of game 1.
Brown going to try Neesmith, probably their best individual defender, just works him down, and Neesmith pulled Brown towards him. I don't think this will be a shooting foul. We'll see.
And foul trouble, of course, can be significant, but this is only the first one so far in the game for either team. Non-shooting. Oh, wait, never mind. Shooting. Something I want to keep an eye on in this one is shot locations. How many corner threes does Haliburton generate, particularly? And then obviously the proportion of plays that are in transition, even though that can always be a little bit murky because it's how things are defined.
Yeah, noting the Pacers' regular season offense. It was a different group, though, after Haliburton went down with the injury. I think these last 4 or 5 games or so, with the exception of game 5 at MSG, he's been as close as we've seen him to that first half of the season version. Siakam rolling out of it. They help off a Nemhard in the corner and don't have to pay for it. Nemhard finding Turner. That was good motion there by Turner. He missed it, and Neesmith trying to run it down, and he forced good pressure there. He forced Braun to tip it out of bounds.
It's credited as a team offensive rebound, but really nice work there by Aaron Neesmith. And good to see if he can rebound after a few different problems, especially in the third quarter of game 1.
Haliburton off the screen. They'll switch Tatum onto him. Now Siakam. He'll work with Haliburton. Haliburton late clock. Gets into the paint. Kicks it out. Nembhard with the three, pretty close to where he hit that game winner in game 3. And again, pressure by the Pacers gets them another opportunity on the offensive glass.
It seems to me like Boston is helping more off of Nembhard in the early going here. Or at least they're noticing it more.
Yeah. Nesmith shut down by Brown in the corner. Now they'll screen for Haliburton. They get him to accelerate. Nice little play here to beat those switches. And Nesmith, who's just been so solid inside the arc the last few games, he's really improved that aspect of his game generally, but particularly of late. Holiday didn't go for the three. They want to get involved. Brown switched onto by Turner. This will be interesting to see how this goes. They gap towards Brown. He'll pull the three. And see, like right there to me, as White gets the rebound, Brown should have engaged a little bit more. Now Horford, and he goes over the left shoulder, but that was better defense than it had been, where at least Siakam was ready for it, and Horford just went through it anyway. Good deep post position by Turner, but then Nesmith goes away from him, back to Haliburton. Haliburton with the rondo, then throws it back top. This Pacers motion is fantastic, and they get another nice look. Even though it didn't get all the way to the rim, they never stop moving the ball. There's White on the push. Now he's going to get it. Brown a dunk. That's just by dribbling up court really fast. It was a 2-on-5, and they get it dunked.
Running after makes, one of my absolute favorite things. Pacers 3 of 3 on what are listed as mid-rangers already.
Nembhard goes through the arm of Brown, and this should be a non-shooting foul if there's any justice in the world. Yeah, look at White. He's just going to dribble up really hard. I guess more accurately, it was a 3-on-5, but not a situation where numbers-wise you should be giving up a dunk. And that is a shooting foul. Wow, they have been quite liberal with that on both ends.
We got asked on YouTube where we had Nesmith in our small forward rankings. I just looked mine up. I had him in the group from 20 to 26.
Yeah, I might have even had him higher. Yeah, he had kind of just begun starting at that point. So now it's Nembhard guarding Holiday. Interesting. Maybe they knew the play call and they switched up the matchup there. Tatum goes for his mid-ranger, and they don't make him put it on the floor, and that, of course, is a much more accurate shot. Haliburton on the push. Oh, he broke the ankles of Holiday to step back. Beautiful move there by Haliburton. Holiday just wasn't ready, it seemed like. Here's the switch. White finding Holiday moving without the ball. And that time, to me, Danny, Turner should be there.
I don't know why he wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of standing in the lane, just didn't react. Good pressure by Tatum. Turner trying to post up on Brown, and we'll stay here.
And I like Jaylen Brown contesting that pass to Miles Turner. Turner's not a good enough driver that you expect him to get all the way downhill, so you're not sacrificing as much as some of those like jumped outs for a steal in other parts of the game.
Yeah, I guess I had Nesmith in that same range, by the way, 22, with Andrew Wiggins, Brandon Miller, Caleb Martin, Klay Thompson in that range. Nesmith's at the top of my tier 7 from 22 to 28. And I would probably move him up. I think that's about right to have him at the top of that group. Here's that little quick switch, and they get a 3 from Nembhard. The Pacers put a lot of pressure on the switching of the Celtics because they're constantly in motion, constantly moving the ball. Screen away for White here. Nembhard gets through it, but that leaves Horford open. That was terrible defense again by Turner. Like, he's closing out. I realized he felt like he had to help a little bit on that screen, but like, just get in front of him first instead of just giving up an easy drive.
And there's no supplemental help. The low man is basically nothing. I think it was Haliburton. Oh.
And now Turner has knocked down Jaylen Brown, and they've been trying to post Turner a fair amount here with them now hiding in the center. I shouldn't say hiding because Siakam's a good player, but putting Horford on Siakam. Yeah, and that's a left elbow into Brown.
And so we get our first stoppage of the game. We can answer some questions. What do you want to see the Celtics do with Horford and pick and roll? I think that mixing it up is important, and I mean, even some possessions, I don't think you want to do it a lot where you want to have Horford just straight up switch onto Halliburton. Like that's the thing that I think is like the least tenable, but even that is okay. But I I think that you want to. I mean, the Celtics are a good switching team. They even have enough stuff with the low men and everything else. So a variety, I think, is what you want to give Halliburton.
Yeah, I think more like it looks like they're, as you noted, they're trying to help more off of Nemhard when he's in, and so maybe that can be of assistance. But I mean, the Pacers, the big problem that they give you is they're on the move so much, whether it's in transition, whether it's Halberton like that baseline out of bounds, just flying off the handoff, that their stuff is quick hitting, and so I think a lot of time the issue is whatever coverage you're in, you're not necessarily in position to execute it at the time that the screen takes place.
Why did Drew Holiday get taken out? I think that he sometimes gets an early rest. You want to kind of make sure that you have some ball handlers on the floor and then balance it out. But I would try to square Holiday's minutes more with Halliburton. I didn't see any like health things necessarily.
Yeah, no, I think that's just the plan. Yeah, I'm interested to see how they're going to guard Halliburton now without Drew.
How would you rate the Pacers' playstyle watchability compared to other teams over the last few years? Extremely high. I mean, I made the reference, and I think Matt Moore did too. We did this on Real Jam Radio early in the year. Where like two favorite teams to watch are the Pacers and whoever's playing the Pacers because they have very fun games, offensive centric, and I mean, especially the best version of Halliburton that we saw at the beginning of the year was one of my favorite players to watch in the whole league. So they've been good. There are other points in the last few years where they were less watchable, particularly before they had Tyrese Halliburton. But generally speaking, I've enjoyed them relative to the average team, even when they were worse talent wise.
Did we hear Bill Simmons mention that he watches our YouTube streams? No, I did not see that. That's pretty cool.
That's cool. Welcome if you're here. I met Bill a lifetime ago, long before I was a sports writer, and he was very nice. We had a good conversation. And I've been a sports writer a long time, so that tells you how long ago that was. Was shit, probably like 2004, 2005.
So, any observations here from this first stretch?
I think it's largely staying in line with what we thought before. Indiana's generating pretty good offense, and Boston trying to kind of keep pace.
Oh yeah, so yeah, Brown goes down. He actually just got kicked in the head. Hopefully
Ow.
he's okay. Again, I noted in the last game he has this history of concussions. So yeah, Pritchard is in, as is McConnell, and as is Shepard. Siakam is out. Here's Braun going right at him, and that time Turner was more helpful. And the reason for that is that we're going to stay here. But Turner, now with Cornette in the game, Turner is able to come over on some of those plays. I think he should still do that when it's Horford, but in his mind, clearly he's more free to go help in that circumstance. White, good job by McConnell staying with him, and he's forced into a mid-ranger. More mid-rangers than we've seen early in this one. McConnell on the push. Oh, and they are going to Cornette on McConnell. They did this in that in-season tournament loss. McConnell going to screen for Halliburton. Now he rolls to the basket and shoots that. That's just the bread and butter of the Indiana Pacers the last 3 games. The pick and pop mid-ranger. At that time, they did it for their point guard. Speaking of pick and pop, Tatum getting past Halliburton, and he missed it, but White beating Toppin. Toppin, not a great defensive rebounder. White on the drive. Good job showing his hands there by McConnell to avoid fouling. Here's Halliburton on the push. Turner now on the go and catch. Sets up McConnell, who's standing right next to Toppin, and that is a pretty atrocious charge call.
And that is a second foul on Miles Turner as well.
That's really going to hurt.
Both of which were offensive.
So they're going to go Jackson here rather than bring Siakam back in. Let's see it. Yeah, he should have just bear hugged him so he didn't fall down. He tried to.
I hate the passing crash. I do think that was a passing crash.
Yeah, he's pretty out of control there. I will say, well, I shouldn't say it's out of control, but he was very present there. It wasn't like such a hard drive that he's just plowing through him. Here's Tatum on the roll, back out to Brown, late switch from Shepard, Cornette on the rebound. They did not get a shot clock reset. Here's Pritchard over McConnell, got to his spot and scored as Jackson did not react.
I like that there's been a little bit more pace to the Celtics offense in this first quarter than the fourth quarter of game one.
Now McConnell, he bothered by Cornette. Cornette bothered him on a jumper in the first game, but Pritchard just stepped on the sideline here. Didn't even realize how close he was, I guess.
And he was looking ahead. I believe that was Tatum that was going to be there in the pass. And on a previous possession, Tatum got that pick and pop and Halliburton switched onto him. The shot was clean enough. I'd like to see him attack a little bit more, try to get downhill, draw a foul.
Zone look here from the Celtics. I want to get more of a look at that, but if Tatum is just going to give up an easy blow by, as now Shepard will pick up a little cheapo foul in transition. Yeah, I've not been that impressed, I will say, with Jason Tatum's individual defense. I mean, this is just, I guess Tatum is expecting someone to be there in the zone behind him. I didn't understand quite what they're doing in that zone. I want to get another look at it. There's the Pritchard pick and pop. Tatum again. Tatum is yet to score out of that. And Brown just takes it away from Halliburton. Halliburton is down. Maybe he got hit in the face. And I was looking at Halliburton. I didn't see what actually happened on the play.
Jaylen Brown fouled Ben Shepard. Looked like a little bit of wrist to. I thought it was wrist to the jaw, but Halliburton's holding more closer to his eye. He should be okay.
And Jackson, an excellent rim protector. That's a beautiful block without fouling.
And Tatum, he is 1 for 5 from the field, but it's important to remember that a couple of those were those attempted and failed putbacks. So it's maybe a little toned down from that.
Well, it is worth noting, they're just playing a conventional pick and roll defense on his pick and pops, and they haven't been burned for that yet. Yeah, so here's this zone again. Looks like they're in kind of like a 3-2, but I don't understand why the big guy, as they're going to hit the
And
three. The guy at the top is like following the first cutter into the lane, which is I don't understand the principles of this thing. Need to get a better look at it still. Holiday is returned. He's looking to post up McConnell. Nice backdoor into the lane. Tatum, offensive foul. He tried to step around McConnell, and that's the very play that I got clarification from on the ref watch party. Yeah, see, McConnell is there. Tatum tries to change his path late, but if McConnell is in his original path, that makes it an offensive foul.
How do you give up this shot in a 3-2 zone? And by the way, the foul on Brown was his second. That's why part of why he's out of the game.
McConnell now switched onto by Tatum. Tatum cut him off nicely there. Neesmith moving without the ball, but a difficult shot in the deep corner. And Indiana defending pretty well right now, I would say. Here's a late switch onto Pritchard, and he drains the three. And Rick Carlisle wants to talk about that. Not sure exactly what their communication was, and maybe that's why Rick wants to talk about it. Was that supposed to be Jackson on a switch? Did they call out the late switch? Let's watch it here. Yeah, Jackson, he's trying to get underneath. Shepard just goes with Cornette, so they just didn't know what they were doing that time.
Who is your preferred NBA champion for this season? I genuinely don't particularly care. I think that it's whoever plays the best. If it's well officiated and healthy and all that kind of stuff, I'm happy with any of these champions, and that's broadly the way that I am.
I do think Boston has the highest ceiling if you look at what they did in the regular season and when they have Porzingis healthy. So I liked to see teams play at the best that they are capable of. And so I do feel that if Boston does not win it, it would be in part because they didn't live up to their capabilities. Now, a team like the Wolves or Dallas, the way their defense has been, certainly you would give a team like that a lot of credit for taking Boston out of what they want to do. So I'd have to see how it happens. But I do think that, to me, Boston should be the favorite going forward here if they can get Porzingis back. The other thing, too, is if they don't win it, maybe it's because Porzingis doesn't get back into the mix in the way that we hope that he can.
I will add one nuance, which is, even though I don't think it should take this for them to do it, Minnesota winning the championship makes it more likely that they keep their team together. I want them to keep their team together. So I guess in that sense, that would be a silver lining relative to other teams. It shouldn't take that, but.
Well, and I mean, with the Glenn Taylor's long, faithful stewardship of the Minnesota franchise, I think you can't help but root for him, right? I will say that I think the Celtics I think they were top 2 in John's and my organization rankings. And so I do like to see organizational competence rewarded.
A wall asks, you guys have been talking about youth being an advantage in these playoffs to deal with physicality. Is this a good thing? Does it lead to slappier play? I don't recall saying that. Maybe you and John talked about that?
Sorry, what was that?
Youth being an advantage in these playoffs because of the physicality?
Yeah, like my takeaway has been just like how physical it is. I talked about that after Game 7 of Wolves Denver and with John also. Yeah, I mean, it might lead to a little slappier. I don't know that the turnover rate is like that much higher necessarily.
Only in the final minute of close games.
I would say that the level of defense has been relatively high, certainly in the Western Conference, even with some of these young teams. That's why we've been so impressed, perhaps, by the coaching. Takes on TNT losing NBA coverage.
I mean, if their bid isn't strong enough, you and I watch a lot less of the halftime and post-game shows than probably the average person who watches a lot of NBA basketball. I think that there's an interesting weird current that you see on social media where it's like people are mad at the NBA if TNT loses the rights, when it's solely about like if they make a strong enough bid. You don't usually like defend somebody in that circumstance, but I would be interested in what NBC does with it, and I think more over the air games would be a good thing for the league.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, I just don't think TNT does that great of a job, honestly, other than the studio show, which I personally don't really care about. Jackson up top, guarded by Tatum, handoff Toppin. They switched that, and Toppin with a terrible pass. That was a no-hoper right there.
You don't want to. It's the low upside pass. Like, even if Isaiah Jackson catches that perfectly, it's still going to be a contested shot.
And there was another guy coming over to help on that roll too, and he wasn't even open to begin with. It was really bad, and it was behind him. Tatum now guarded by Toppin. They go to the pick and roll. Cornette's wide open underneath. Pass was too late, and it then hits the net. I still think Cornette could have controlled that, but that pass has got to just come earlier.
Tatum almost got saved because that pass was so bad it slowed down by the net, but not quite enough.
Yeah, now, I guess you might say, well, hey, we don't think Obi Toppin's that good of a defender. Why don't you just isolate with Tatum? Well, Obi Toppin is probably even a worse pick-and-roll defender getting over screens. Here's Haliburton with McConnell. Now Haliburton getting space, goes to the fadeaway mid-ranger. Again, this mid-range shooting from the Pacers has been pretty devastating. And, I mean, just watching Haliburton run pick-and-roll with McConnell, I really like that the Pacers were ready for this strategy of Cornette guarding McConnell. Now, good post up by Holiday. That was a nice entry pass, and the foul is called on McConnell as he got his arm in there.
And
this is great here, too. Look at Haliburton handing back from McConnell. Like, that's just great movement. Like, that's just not a normal cut that you see. That's the sort of stuff the Pacers do. And then they just throw it right behind Tatum. He said it got deflected, but that's probably a bad read by Cornette, because if the guy is trailing him over the screen, then Tatum is cutting to the basket, and Cornette threw that pass like he was popping out for the three. Here's McConnell isolating, has to kick it to the corner. Shepard wasn't quite ready to shoot. Toppin, now their spacing is not good. He goes behind his back. to Halliburton. That's the problem with some of these random cuts. McConnell will have to create against Cornette, and it does not drop. So McConnell has not done much one-on-one against Cornette. Now here's Tatum with Siakam back in the game, and they fouled Jason Tatum again.
Already 5 turnovers for both teams in this game, though remarkably, those 10 combined turnovers have led to 6 combined points.
Most impactful lower draft pick players in this series. Well, and there's a lot of them, right? Siakam, I think, was 27th. Shepard was 26th, so he's maybe not as impactful. Derek White was 29th.
Nembhard was late.
Yeah, Nembhard was 32, I believe.
I mean, even there were a few guys that were later part of the first round. Like Drew was
Yeah,
Drew
Drew was
on one?
17 or 18, I think. Tatum now posting up on top and goes right into him. And Toppin got the block. Tatum was more trying to draw the foul than shoot a little lefty hook. Shepard is wide open in the corner off of that and just rims it out. Horford back in the game. Holiday will push it up against Shepard. He should try to go here. Goes right through him. Good help by Toppin there off the top.
Nice pass.
Yeah, that was a great cut too. Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up the cut. Hauser did a really, really good job there.
Now Siakam guarded again by Horford. Toppin looking to turn the corner into 3 guys, and he's lucky to get it back. Holiday asking for a review. Probably not worth it at this point.
But even so, that wasn't good defense from Jason Tatum on that drive. That wasn't why Obi Toppin lost the ball.
Yeah, that was a great block by Toppin.
I mean, he held him a bunch before it, but
kind of getting fouled, but I mean, it's not called, so.
So Naifun asked, what do you think about these triple bench lineups from the Celtics? Like, so that basically what that means is Pritchard, Cornette, and Hauser all out there together. I am not a fan, particularly in these circumstances when Halliburton is also on the floor. I think it just gives Halliburton too many different places to kind of attack. And you can pick your spots with it every so often, but Boston has so much quality in their top 5. I would spread that out more personally. Do you like playing Isaiah Jackson or going to the Siakam one? So generally what Indiana is doing is they're playing the smaller front court when it's just McConnell on the floor. And then when it's Halliburton, they're generally speaking, it's not a rigid thing. And I actually like that approach just because it gives McConnell a little bit more space to work with. But you do need some rim protection on the floor. And so this was a challenge. Interesting.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look like Holiday touched it. No, I guess he did, according to the referees. We didn't get a great look at that. Shepard trying to turn the corner. Here's McConnell into the lane. Good help from Holiday, but that was even better work from McConnell to recognize that that was a stunt and stay on the ball and get the layup. That was really good awareness by him. Now Pritchard trying to work in a position. Gets to his spot over Shepard. Tried to get the offensive rebound where he's sneaky, but Siakam did well to tip it away. Halliburton being forced to his left by Holiday. Goes for the 3. That one, he wasn't really clean there. There was another guy around, and I think that bothered him just enough. And they also don't really get the 2-for-1. They're giving Boston a chance here. Tatum, I don't think he realizes it yet. They're going to go at Halliburton and pick and roll. They do not switch it. Instead, it's that's no good. He's going to make that. That was terrible. I would rather just switch Halliburton onto him in that. And also, they didn't know what they were doing. Right, like I think Halliburton was acting like he was switching, and which they did at the beginning of game 1. There's Halliburton on the drive. He throws it over his shoulder. 3 Pacers all standing next to each other. The spacing was atrocious, and now Boston can get the last shot of the quarter. And they're going to get an out of bounds here on McConnell as he tried to steal it. He was standing out of bounds.
So a little curiosity with whether that play was actually challenged. I didn't see any sort of ref announcement, and the play-by-play both logs the challenge, but still says that Boston.
Look at Halliburton, by the way. His face on that play as they're uh, as he's like, "What are you doing here, Obi?" So they'll take him out for defensive purposes for the last 5.80s, just out of bounds on McConnell. Pritchard gets it, trying to get uh, Hauser open off the screen. Here's Pritchard stepping back, but it's just in and out, and Indiana up 2 here. And I think they've largely actually made more mistakes than Boston, but their offense has been solid. What's the shot charts look like here? Because it seems like Indiana's been making every mid-ranger.
They're doing very well. The Pacers are 4 of 6 from mid range, and then 2 of 2 on upper paint. So if you want to combine those, they're 6 of 8 on twos away from the basket. They've only taken 2 shots in the restricted area. Boston 3 of 7 so far in the restricted area. 1 of 4 for mid range for the Celtics, and only 2 corner threes combined in the first quarter. Both of them by the Pacers. Both of them missed. Is there a reason that Halliburton isn't at least an okay defender other than energy and effort? He is a little bit thin, but no. I thought that Halliburton would be a competent defender, maybe not an elite one. He's also not like an unbelievable athlete just in terms of like quickness or anything like that. He has a great shot, he thinks fast, but he isn't like phenomenal at those sorts of things. So, he is in many ways more of like a combo guard. And to me, the best way to use him defensively in ideal world, and we've seen the Pacers do this a fair amount over the last couple of years, is have him defend twos and have somebody else like Nemhard defend ones.
He hasn't been as terrible as I expected in these playoffs. Still a liability, still someone that they're terrified to get switched on to anyone who can do anything. But I don't think his effort level has been like atrociously bad. Part of it too is just that they've had some matchups where he's really been able to hide. That's going to be less the case in this series.
We get asked what Ben Shepherd is shooting in the playoffs, and it's actually not as bad as you think because he had a better stretch during the Knicks series. He's shooting 44% from 3 overall,
Yeah,
taking 3
and
per game.
just so many of those are from the corners, though. I'd be interested to know what actually Basketball Reference will probably tell us that, huh? What the breakdown is, corners versus above the break, or I guess it's overall 3 and corners that they show us.
I believe that's correct. Andrew says that Cornette hurt his hand. Would they go Tillman or Tatum at the 5? I'll have to see. I didn't know that Cornette had a hand issue. I think they'll try Tatum first, but I do think they'll give if Cornette is unavailable, I do think that we'll get to see some Xavier Tillman, which I want to see.
What have been Missoula's biggest issues? I mean, I think he's done a pretty damn good job this year. I think they have a system and a way that they want to play, and they execute it. They've gotten a lot out of guys like Hauser and Cornette, who maybe are not great athletes, but can execute the system.
He is the 4th different coach, I believe, that hasn't been able to necessarily get the Jays less stagnant in the fourth quarter. But I mean, we're on a large number now of coaches that are highly regarded and still haven't been able to do it.
Maybe there's this patina of like overconfidence from him, or just like belief in the way that he's doing things, even if they're not entirely non-traditional, like kind of a combativeness. Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's bad or good. I think it's mostly good. I mean, I had him second in Coach of the Year this year, and I've never been as down on him as some others, either when they had some struggles last year in the playoffs. So it's now Siakam guarding Holiday. Halliburton went the whole first quarter basically, which is more than he has recently. Here's White. Jackson retreats. They kick it out. 3-pointer by Brown and rebounded by McConnell. That was better pick and roll defense from Jackson. Shepherd, quick drive. Tried to throw it back to Siakam. They're lucky to retain that. Siakam against Holiday. Holiday trying to stand up to him, and Siakam just blew the great layup that he created. Now they've got Horford ahead of the field, and no one picked him up. That was really bad defense. Now Jackson trying to post up. This is not going to end well, I don't think. Missed it twice, and Celtics come back with the rebound. Yeah, Shepherd had to push Jackson to get back. Brown trying to post up Nesmith. They go to the other side. And again, Jackson just has no idea what he's doing on these plays. Horford, they got lucky, missed a couple of shots inside. Jackson back in the play, kick it out. Hauser gets it off over Jackson, just in and out. Celtics iron's been unkind, but Brown cleans up among three Pacers, and TJ McConnell is not happy with his teammates with that lack of effort. Rick Carlisle isn't either.
The Celtics have 9 offensive rebounds, and I don't think this is actually true, but it feels like all of them occurred on 2 trips down the floor. But that still matters because they got points on one of those 2. The other one was when Jason Tatum volleyballed it like twice or 3 times. Thoughts on the JB Bickerstaff firing? Is Mitchell good enough to fire the coach for? He fits into a description that has come around a fair amount the last couple of years, where I don't think JB Bickerstaff is a bad coach, but I simultaneously don't think that he is so good that you're going to be haunted by firing him or anything else like that. Like there have been a lot of those over the years. And so if it's true that Donovan Mitchell having another coach would make him more likely to resign, then yes, I think that is worthwhile, as long as you can get somebody that you're happy with in that sort of a circumstance. And Bickerstaff, I think that he was put in a tough situation this year where they had talent that didn't necessarily mesh together. And I thought he did a wonderful job when both Garland and Mobley were out, and he kind of saw a little bit more of what they could do with better spacing. But I also don't think that they're going to be so much worse off, even if they hire a coach who's worse than JB Bickerstaff, which I think is entirely possible.
Yeah, I'll probably save most of it for the pod, and I think we kind of I talked about it with John some couple weeks ago,
and we did,
you
and we did too.
Yeah. So it's just it's one of those deserve ain't got nothing to do with it firings.
Are we going to do an all NBA vote shaming pod? We talked about it enough yesterday. I think that'll be enough.
I don't think we need to name names necessarily.
No, we could just do that privately.
Y'all can y'all can look that up well enough.
What about Alex Jensen as Cavs coach? That line as comes up basically anytime somebody asks about an assistant. It's basically from us. It's all word of mouth. So I can't say this assistant coach is going to be good. This assistant coach is going to be bad because we know nothing about what they would be. And so if it's,
I mean, we could tell you what the resume is and kind of what the reputation is, and having worked under Quinn Snyder, who it seems like just from some of the things that Chris Fedor has said, it seems like the ways in which JB Bickerstaff was not Quinn Snyder, who had been the only coach that Donovan Mitchell had known in the NBA before Cleveland, that those kind of bothered him. Those things like really like intensely organized practices, like a lot of specificity, like that's the kind of stuff that Quinn Snyder is known for. And so bringing in someone from his tree obviously would potentially alleviate that. Or maybe they could just trade for Quinn Snyder.
I mean, the Hawks need picks.
Like, how does Al Horford beat everyone down the floor there? Like, that's not going to work. And then Jackson, again, he's blitzing White, but they're not switching that. Celtics are killing him on the offensive glass. They have 9 offensive rebounds and 9 second chance points. And see, like right there, right? Like, Nesmith is getting the box out on Jaylen Brown. And yeah, Jaylen Brown, superlative individual effort to beat him. Sure. Like, should you say Nesmith should have boxed him out? Yeah, I think that's probably fair. But he was really trying. He just couldn't do it. But there's 2 other Pacers there who aren't engaged with anyone, right? Like, Brown had to get around a guy, and he's still able to beat these other guys to the ball. McConnell missing the lefty layup. Boston on a 4-0 run here at the start of the quarter. Brown changes sides of the floor, finds White up top. His 3 is good. And Boston is really hurting them in transition and on the boards right now. It's been a lot of McConnell. There's Turner finally going to get back in. Nesmith somehow threw the pass to Jackson. It was a great angle on the pass, but also pretty tough catch. And I think most Pacers fans would be glad to see the back of Isaiah Jackson right now, as Turner's going to replace him.
Has Indiana scored since I don't think they've scored since Halliburton's been off the floor.
No. Yeah, I mean, this has been McConnell playing for almost 10 straight minutes now, and a ton of it with Halliburton.
And O'Shea Brissett, former Pacer, on the floor.
Yeah, so this is a centerless lineup now, maybe because of this Cornet issue. They're going there instead of Tillman. Braun just walking McConnell back to his spot. McConnell had the arm forward, and he's called for the foul with 5 to shoot. Yeah, this is a surprising move, though, and I imagine they'll just put Turner on him and see if he can hit some shots. Brissett, I think there might have been some who thought that he would be ahead of some of the guys who do play in the rotation, but hasn't necessarily been the case. He had a really nice run at the end of the 21 season that kind of saved them in the absence of Turner to at least get them into the play-in, but really was never able to build on that.
And one of the things I remember is that Brissett had this one molten game from 3, which was against the Boston Celtics.
So Pacers still without a bucket in this quarter, without a point in this quarter. And Indiana now is an interesting group. They're taking out McConnell, ultra big Nembhard and Nesmith at the guard line, and then they're moving Siakam to the 3 with Turner and Obi Toppin. Brissett is on Turner. Into the lane, Nembhard. Turner's still trying to post up. They get it to him. Turns over Brissett. That was actually pretty good physical defense by Brissett, I would say. That was not a particularly easy shot. With Tatum off the floor, Boston for once winning these minutes. White trying to get in position to screen against Nembhard. Now they get out of the way. Brown pulls back on Toppin and drains it. I mean, now Brown, I don't think they need a screen. I think he should just go right at Toppin and just try to blow by him. Halliburton is going to come back in after only about a 3-minute rest. This has been a disastrous start to the quarter. Nesmith, and that's going to be a lucky break perhaps, as did look like Hauser got his palm up there and impeded his progress, made him lose the ball.
This is a 12-0 Boston start to the second quarter with Halliburton off the floor.
And that's not an atrocious contest by Obi Toppin. And they're trying to get to the elbows and not allow Brown to drive around him. Now it's actually Brown guarding Turner. Brissett has Nesmith. Nice flare screen for Nembhard. Just wasn't ready to shoot, though. Then he lobs it up, and nothing was there at all. Nice interception by Brissett. They get it to Braun. He fires it. He's been on fire from outside. Missed that one. Halliburton on the push. Toppin running the floor. He'll go to the corner. Halliburton off the screen. Turner rolls through. Here's an open 3 by Nembhard, and he can't get it. Pacers still scoreless in the quarter. Backdoor. Brown is there. He beat Nembhard easily, and there was no weak side help.
The lack of weak side help has been a huge problem for the Pacers.
Yeah. But you would expect like the guy to just get beaten on a straight backdoor cut like that. I'm not sure what Nembhard was thinking. Here's Halliburton into the post. Turner now guarded by White. Triple teamed. Lost it.
And Horford tipped that ball, but it was still in Turner's hands. So this is now I believe, 14-0 run to start the quarter.
Yeah, over a 4-minute period. Screen away here for Brown. He's going backdoor. He goes right at Toppin, and he's fouled. That was a nice. They've gotten some nice little actions off of that play in this series of setting that screen. A lot of times that screen will be for the guy to shoot a 3. Instead, what Boston's doing is trying to just cut right down the lane off of that screen. And because it's usually a shooter setting it, they don't want to help. I still didn't get a look at what Nembhard was thinking to just let Brown go right behind him for a layup there.
So those who don't know it can experience it. The O'Shea Brissett game, the Pacers were 20-41 at that point in the year. Brissett goes 6 for 9 from 3, scores 27 points in the starting lineup, as in a game where they ended up beating the Celtics by 20.
So that was in 22, right?
That was in February of 22, yes. I think we talked about that. I think we did a partial gamer on that one because of how ridiculous Brissett was.
Yeah, Brown has been fantastic so far. He's up to 16 points. And Brissett did well. They didn't score when he was in there.
Defensive rating of 0.
Tatum has replaced him. And Celtics are going to get back to their starting group. Nice little hand back there. Halliburton wide open. That was beautiful action, but can't get it. Here's Nembhard trying to save it twice, and he has done so. What an effort.
Yeah, pulled that off of Drew Holiday's ankle, and you need those sort of effort plays to get back into it, especially when you still haven't scored any points in the quarter.
Halliburton rejects the screen from Turner. Nice. That was good communication there on that Spain pick and roll, and it forces Nesmith to drive, and they had more help there. This has been awesome Celtics defense here in the second. Their best defensive stretch, I would say, maybe even of the playoffs.
Love Tatum there, moving off of Turner at exactly the right time to contest the shot without conceding anything.
Holiday kicks out. Tatum on the blow by, and he goes in for the easy layup. Again, with Turner, look where Turner is standing. Like, Miles Turner never reacts. He's guarding Jaylen Brown in the opposite corner, and like nobody else on this team could protect the rim. So as soon as that was a great recognition from Holiday off the double team, Tatum can attack the closeout, but just there's nobody else there.
Yeah. It's one of the big problems with Obi Toppin trying, if for anybody who would like him to play a larger role on the Pacers or another team, is that he is so ineffective as a defender overall that you have to make a lot of other concessions. As a backup power forward, sure, like backup power forward, he actually brings a lot to the table. But two things. One is that you're going to have some limited defensive stuff in that group, and we've saw even with various different configurations. The other one is that means he doesn't fill the other backup power forward thing or backup at any position thing, which is, can you trust them to be a starter when your starter is hurt? And that's why I wouldn't, as a GM, give Obi Toppin a significant contract this year.
So this is now 17-0 Celtics.
Yes.
Actually, was it maybe it even might have started earlier at the end of the first. It's 17-0 in this.
It's 17-0 here. If you add in Drew Holiday's shot, it's a 20-0 run.
Yeah. What happened to Turner being a rim protector? Didn't he average 5 blocks a few years ago? Wasn't quite that, but to me, he just hasn't been as effective even when he's been in position. Perhaps it's just also that he hasn't in this series. He just has been too attuned to guarding the 3-point line, right? Like Al Horford has taken 1 3-pointer in this game, right? Like they can't guard this Celtics team. What are you going to give up? The guy was 3 of 12 from 3 in game 1. Give up that.
There was also, if memory serves, and you like that Turner, he's a better shot blocker than he is rim protector. If memory serves, there have been some years where like teams did a little bit, but he has had some really good rim protection years too. Like I think it was 21, he did a really good job. Like he was good statistically. Seth Partnow has some really good stats on that using the tracking data.
The fact the Pacers have to double Drew Holiday in the post against Halliburton is awful if you want to stop the Celtics. The thing is, though, with the Celtics starters out there, Drew Holiday is probably the guy that you want to hide Halliburton on. So, like, every team pretty much is going to have one guy that Drew Holiday could just kind of bludgeon in the post. It's part of why I like the trade so much, that he could do that way better than someone like Marcus Smart could. Because they just like, I probably would actually think of putting Halliburton back on White so you don't have to double as much. I think that has worked better for them. Also allows you to get some cross matches in transition with Drew not guarding Halliburton. So I think I would try to go back to that. But like Holiday, either Holiday or White pretty much is always going to have a matchup that they can exploit to some degree. It's really more about how the Celtics are built. Like there's, it would be Jalen Brunson for if it's the Knicks trying to guard Holiday in the post.
So I believe that going back to the curiosity with that potential challenge, I believe that there was not a challenge. It was mislogged in the
Oh,
official
yeah.
box score because it's not in the final like quarter ending box score and it's not reflected in the other stuff.
Pacers back to their starting group. Neesmith, late switch by Horford. Good communication here as well. Horford tells White to go away. He's on Halliburton now. Halliburton finding Neesmith. Neesmith, I think, should have taken that three. Instead, he drives, and he is going to get fouled with 5 on the clock. So Halliburton, the Celtics were loaded way over to him after Horford switched onto him, and they didn't want that matchup to be just a pure switch. And so Halliburton was able to find Neesmith against the closeout. He finally gets to the line and hopefully can score the first point of the quarter for the Pacers.
Would Benedict Mathurin fundamentally change anything for the Pacers in this series? Not really. I mean, he'd be another player that they could go to, but Mathurin, he is limited as a three-point shooter. He is inconsistent as a defender. So I think that he is largely like he's overplayed rather than underplayed. And
Well, he
in
also
part,
is just not willing to take a spot up.
sure.
That's he's not willing to take a spot up, and he makes a lot of mistakes defensively. So, like, could his like raw scoring ability, his rugged driving, get to the foul line help in circumstances? Yes, I think I think Shepard has actually probably given them more just by being able to hit shots and not screw up than Mathurin would have. Now it's Turner switched on to Brown. Neesmith with a dig. Brown, tough shot. And it goes off the head of Halliburton as he went down fighting for the rebound. But with Turner away from the rim, Boston again able to exploit the boards.
That unstoppable Boston offensive rebounding. Punk.
Yeah, Halliburton, they reviewed a potential flop for him, but did not ultimately call called on him after the fact late in game one. Here's White trying to work on Nembhard, and Nembhard, that is a bad, bad foul. White, not really a guy off the dribble who's going to put you in the mix and hit that shot. And Nembhard continues to struggle in individual defense in a way that I didn't quite expect. But yeah, great recognition there by White to see his arm go out. I just don't. What are you hoping to accomplish by putting your arm out like that?
Get asked how has Boston turned off the Pacers mid-range game? A big part of that is just not having their mid-range shooters on the floor. Like that start of the second quarter group didn't have the best ones out there. Siakam had a part of his rest and everything else. So I don't think it's a specific tactical element. If correct me if you think or if you think it's different.
I think more switching
Okay.
has been part of it. To just not give up that mid range pick and pop. White hitting a couple of free throws. It feels like this game is slowed to a crawl with the offensive rebound, some fouling, and of course that's not what Indiana wants. So sprained left wrist for Luke Cornett. He's considered questionable to return.
After those free throws, it is now a 20-2 quarter for the Boston Celtics.
There's another example, actually, schematically, and that was a great pass by Halliburton because they run the open side pick and roll. They force it towards the baseline. Siakam was open at the nail. Holiday comes off of Neesmith to take it away, and Halliburton, that's one of the few guys who can make that pass all the way back out to the top for a Neesmith wide open three. So they're kind of more in a drop coverage, and they're trying to bring more help against the roll man. Here's a fadeaway by Tatum. And you don't want to be fading away against Tyrese Halliburton. Like that's the advantage against him is using your strength, not fading away. As Nembhard gets to a quick transition pull up, and Indiana with a nice little 5-0 burst here.
And Jason Tatum now 2 of 8 from the field so far.
Nembhard did well to get over that screen. Siakam tried to close out. Holiday finding White underneath, and Siakam stood tall, didn't foul, and stopped him. Here's Halliburton getting to his three-pointer, and that's 8 in a row now for Indiana.
Tatum, I think he should have picked up the ball there. Halliburton's such a risk, and there's no one right behind Halliburton to get that.
Now Holiday on the push gets around Turner, and that's pretty atrocious defense. But Indiana now into their more free-flowing game, and they get a wide-open three coming back. Nesmith has it curl out on him. Halliburton hiding out on Hauser. Tatum just going one-on-one against Nesmith. Basically a zero pass possession until 6 on the clock. Nice cut by Hauser. He lost it out of bounds. I thought that might have actually been off of, yeah, Horford. He wants to inbound it right now because he doesn't want to challenge. Look at that. Did you see? He knows.
He went right to it.
Yeah, that's Miles Turner playing defense with 2 fouls right there on that Holiday layup. But to just like give up that penetration from Siakam, I guess he thought Turner would get over there. Here's Braun attacking Halliburton. Late close by Siakam. Horford beasting Turner on the glass. No foul? No, there is a foul now. And Turner's saying, not me, not me. He grabbed me first.
Unfortunately for Turner,
I would recommend challenging a loose ball offensive rebounding foul.
No, if they were going to challenge
Carlisle's asking about it. And they're going to come back with Jackson here. Yeah, so what? Yeah, he does kind of run into him there.
And also, Turner had his left hand on Horford on the initial rebounding action.
Well, so I don't understand going back to Jackson here. He's been awful. They should go with Toppin to me.
Or Jalen Smith. You have another guy.
No, Jalen Smith played 2 minutes. Didn't you see how he was so terrible as they turned it over? Siakam, man, that guy just runs the floor like a gazelle. Boston trying to come back. Holiday fires the three, and he's just so reliable these days on the opportunities that he creates. They've put the ball in his hands a lot more. He's been the guy bringing it up rather than White. Hand back to Nembhard. Nembhard into the lane, kicks out. No real advantage. Holiday surprised Siakam from behind. It goes right to Nembhard. Beautiful spin move, gets into the lane. Horford shuts it down, and he stopped from behind. Nembhard did not feel Horford at all that time. Here's Braun, goes right through Siakam. What a power move that was.
I mean, that's Jaylen Brown overpowering a true power forward without too much trouble. Impressive work.
Now Siakam into Horford, and he just threw it away. Nembhard able to recover another loose ball out of Siakam's hands. Here's Nembhard as Tatum switched on him. And that's just not good enough by Jason Tatum. Like, there's no reason you should be giving up a layup to Andrew Nembhard with the gifts that Tatum has. Brown misses another transition. This pace is in favor of Indiana right now. They're going to get another wide open three with Nembhard. Missed it. And the 2 Pacers took it away from the Celtics. And it's a good thing they got that because it was going to be a dunk the other way for Boston if they didn't. Now Braun. Ooh, nice tip away by Halliburton. Nesmith flies into the crowd. Almost got the save. So an interesting last 2:29 as Boston with a comfortable lead. Indiana has started to score again. 16 points in the last couple of minutes after they failed to score for about 5. Here's Braun going right through Halliburton, but Jackson came over and Braun able to double pump and finish anyway.
Jaylen Brown, 23 points in the first half, 8 of 16 from the field, 5 of 6 from the line.
They changed the angle of the screen nicely. Nembhard maybe had Jackson for the oop. Instead, he missed the shot. Now Nesmith knocks Tatum backwards. White bothers him, takes it away. 4 on 3, throw it ahead. Holiday back to Brown for the finish. That was a beautiful pass by Holiday. Another timeout, Indiana.
And Jaylen Brown has been massive, brought up that 23 points, 8 of 16 from the field, only 1 turnover. And it's come up in a few different contexts, but it's the possession game has been such a huge advantage so far for the Celtics in this one. Not only are they ahead 10-7 in terms of, like, I guess forcing turnovers is the way you do it, but the offensive rebounding is still a big story. 50% offensive rebound rate as of now versus
Wow.
25% for the Indiana Pacers. And
I've
so
been pretty impressed by the Celtic defense here overall, when is particularly in the half court. And I've also been a little been a lot of Nemhard. Again, like I'd like to see the ball in Halliburton's hands, making the decision. Nemhard's been scoring just enough that he's been encouraged to keep doing it. But overall, I think the Celtics, like their deep level of defensive activity, they're finding ways to surprise guys and help, getting more steals. And the Pacers had that crazy number of turnovers in game one. Celtics not a high forcing turnover team during the regular season, but I think they've really ramped it up in this series. Like Horford, that making that great play from behind on Nemhard. Holiday has ramped up his aggressiveness as well. And you can do that on anyone who isn't Halliburton. Like Halliburton is going to see that there's more of that helping and beat it. I don't think anyone else on the Pacers is going to beat you if you kind of, make a random help attempt that they aren't expecting.
And that ties in with the Wall's question of, like, at what point does Indiana start dusting guys off to switch things up? And the problem is they don't have enough other guys that are good. Like, Jalen Smith is the one that I've been bringing up because I do think he can play, but it's not like you're going to go to, like, James Johnson, or, I mean, Jabari Walker would be a very bold swing like this. They don't have.
Well, they got to space the floor. They're built on 5-out spacing. Like having Isaiah Jackson in there is like completely fucking up their spacing.
Agreed.
And it's not like he's been making all kinds of mistakes. Now they do finally go back to Toppin. I just don't understand what took them so long. Here's Siakam on the drive. And hey, look at that. 5-out spacing. They go right to the rim.
And look at that. Another poor defensive possession by Jason Tatum. One-on-one defense.
Yeah, he got blown by again. You're right. White slips the screen off of Halliburton. That leads to this from Hauser, but he's had a couple go in and out. Halliburton with transition here, down 11. 1:16 left. Good denial by Holiday. Siakam not looking to hand back to Halliburton. He's going to try and go at Brown, and he got a beautiful look there. That was not very good individual defense. He didn't even get a hand up to challenge him.
And I think you brought it up, but just to be clear, that this is Tatum at center for the Celtics as well.
I did not bring that up. Thank you. Yeah, I liked what Brissett brought him a little bit. I might try to go there. They're going to involve Halliburton and pick and roll again. Braun rejects the screen. Good rotation, but White's wide open in the corner. And Celtics have just been missing some of these wide open shots. Can Halliburton get the 2-for-1 here? Toppin trying to post up Hauser underneath. They don't go that way. Instead, Halliburton on the drive. Tries to get a quick duck in from Siakam. Beautiful work there by Siakam. And that's like, again, what Halliburton brings you is it looks like he's going to take the shot, but he sees the guy ducking in at the last minute, and he's got a better one.
I hope we see Xavier Tillman in the second half.
Down to 7. Brown off the screen, goes at Halliburton, right through him. Nesmith came over, and he can't believe he was called for the foul there on Brown. But again, Brown just loving his aggressiveness. We got Halliburton on him, didn't play around, didn't even think of taking a jumper.
And this gives Jaylen Brown the opportunity for a 25-point half. And yes, he was fouled.
Yep. Yeah. Nesmith crashed through the body of Brown. That's how he's able to get that challenge. And he also hit his hand too. So pretty obvious foul in the end.
Second personal on Nesmith. Turner is the only player on either team with 3. Brown and McConnell both have 2.
Brown continuing his wonderful first half. Best plus minus on the team at plus 13. They really won the Brown only minutes. Yeah, he literally was out there by himself, but you know what I mean. No Tatum. And significantly, that stretch at the start of the second is the difference of the game. And he can't get that free throw. And Halliburton will get it ahead to Siakam. Double team. Siakam rejects it, goes right in for the dunk, and 4.3 left. Probably not enough for Boston to get a good shot. White going to try to push it up here. He'll shoot it over Nesmith and Siakam, and Indiana only down 6 after that miserable stretch at the start of the second quarter. So we're going to have a pretty interesting second half after all. We'll tell you all about it in about 13 minutes or so. All right, welcome back. And what did you make? Oh, wait, hold on. Where's my camera? There we go. All right, 1 second here. Gotta get my.
Well, I'll answer Nate's question in absentia. What stood out to me? I think a lot went well for the Boston Celtics in that first half. They dominated the possession game. They outshot the Pacers. Actually, they even shot the Pacers from three. In terms of percentage, Boston took three more, made one more. So they were both 1 for 3. And for the Celtics to only be up 2 possessions at the end of the first half, I think that bodes somewhat well for the Pacers.
So it's still Halliburton guarding Drew. Halliburton switching on to Tatum. They double team. Now he gets back to it. Good help by Turner on the roll. Brown gets to his mid-ranger, though, against Nesmith.
So maybe it's just the free throw line on that side. We'll have to see.
Nembhard, quick attack. They just completely lost it. And Tatum is going to get Nembhard on the arm, but that was a total miscommunication by the Celtics, and Nembhard reacted very quickly to get to the bucket.
I do enjoy how frequently Jason Tatum complains about other guys using their off arm, considering he does it constantly and doesn't get called for it that much. And also, that's not much of an off arm by Nembhard.
If you keep, you could. I mean, it's basically kind of the same thing. Like, as long as you don't extend, you're gonna be fine. He kept it very close to his body in the end. Nembhard misses that one though. 2-1 Boston here, a 1 possession on each side into the half. Holiday trying to walk down Halliburton. Halliburton getting 2 arms on the back. Now Tatum crashes into Siakam. Brown over Nesmith. Tough fadeaway, and it drops again. Aaron Nesmith, just any mid-ranger over him just goes in. I'm sorry, that was Nembhard. Excuse me. I don't know why I said Nesmith. Siakam back to Nembhard. Nembhard into Holiday, kicks out, 7 to shoot for Siakam against Horford. Creates the space on him, falls down, no call.
Tyrese Halliburton never touched the ball.
Brown kicking out. Tatum's 3 is missed. Yeah, they got to get the ball into Halliburton's hand. Instead, they outlet it to Nembhard again. Nembhard going into the paint, sets up Siakam, who hesitated, and then drains it.
You get an open 3. I'm fine with
yeah. No, and it's not like Nembhard is like bad even necessarily. It's just that Halliburton is unbelievable. But that time, it's just get it outletted and run is your big priority. Halliburton has to switch on to Brown. Now they get wide open on the pick and pop, and he drains it.
And that play is a great example of why you want Halliburton involved in almost every action. It's just, it leads to a little bit of friction, and there was Derek White getting a wide open shot.
Yeah, they had Halliburton that time on White, and White made him pay. Siakam changing sides of the floor. Halliburton on the move. Finds Nesmith popping out. That time the Celtics were ready. Flare screen for Halliburton. Halliburton into the lane. Fires the mid-ranger and scores. That was such good recognition from Halliburton because Holiday flies by him. And a lot of guys would be like, oh, I'm going to throw it to the corner now. Holiday was actually peeling back into the corner. So Halliburton just took the mid-ranger. That was the right decision. Going to Halliburton again. Holiday slips out of there. Nembhard made a nice play off the corner, but he's going to get called for the foul on the arm.
And that is
a subtle request for a review there from Nembhard,
but not an effective one. And that's and that's the first team foul on the Pacers.
That was a subtle but effective reference of that subtle but effective. And they're going to get a hold on Siakam here. He thought that Brown was pushing off on him, but I tend to agree that he got the hand check.
Second team foul on the Pacers.
And of course, we got a replay and didn't see what just happened there. But looked like it was good for Boston. Turner up top. He is yet to score. Nembhard setting up Siakam. Good close by Horford. Siakam now working into the paint. Shoots over Horford, and that's a really tough shot by Pascal Siakam. Deep post-up position by Holiday in transition. They got to come here too late. And they get a walk on him. And that was better there for Miles Turner, though. Did you see that, Danny?
Yeah, he was like 4 steps off of Horford.
Yeah, he was standing right underneath. And he actually might have been able to affect things. Whereas he was just glued to Horford too many times in the first and in the second half of last game. Nembhard, again, getting great separation. I'd say Tatum is just getting roasted right now. Like, and we know he can be better than this. He's just not getting into his stance and sliding his feet. Now Holiday off the Horford screen, left it short. Indiana can cut it to a single possession. Yes, what a pass by Haliburton, but Horford was lurking to take away the initial attack. Siakam still moving, gets his man in the air, and Pascal Siakam, this mid-ranger from him has been just devastating these last 5 games or so.
Has he made 3 in the third quarter already? It seems like, I believe it's 3.
Now Haliburton is on White. They go to White. White turns the corner. Nembhard comes over. Too late that time. And that time it was Turner kind of stuck more in the weak side corner. Like, that should be his rotation. Even if it's not technically his man that's closest, they need to set that up. Haliburton setting up Siakam wide open for another 3. He has just been ridiculous in this quarter, and it's down to 2. How many points does he have in this quarter? He's got like 12 points. Look at that. 12 of 14 from the field. Made both of his threes in this quarter. Holiday going at Haliburton again. Crosses over. Lost it. Back to White. He blows by 2 guys, and he dunks it.
And Siakam tried to get there, but was there late.
Yeah, when 2 guys get blown by, it's tough to get a third guy to rotate over. Now Nembhard, they go under on him. Nice steal by Turner. And are they going to count this or call it beforehand? They're going to call it beforehand.
Siakam has 10 points in 4.5 minutes, and it's actually, less time than that. And it's, let's see. 4 of 6 from the field. I believe. I might be 5 of 6.
Yeah, and once he starts hitting those first ones, as he's going to try again here, pops off the ground. That one was a little harder. Tipped out Turner. Siakam sets up Haliburton. He loads up for 3. That's short. Siakam got inside position. He misses the layup. And a loose ball foul here. We're going to stay here as Nesmith crashed in, and this time a foul on a Celtic. Tatum saying he pushed his arm down, but Nesmith was more physical that time and gets rewarded with the call. Yeah, Siakam just eluded Horford's box out attempt, but he's missed a couple of chippies. Amazing to say when he's now 12 of 16 from the field that he could have more. And yeah, you do see Tatum peel Nesmith's arm down so he can't grab the ball. Great call there by Scott Foster.
Well, you say it's a great call. That call is going to be challenged. Joe Mazzulla not listening to your own advice.
Oh, you gotta be fucking after the terrible one that he did in the last game. Are you kidding me? All right, I gotta retweet my old tweet for that now.
Gabriel says over under on how many months the subtle but effective thing will last. It'll last until probably I forget about it, and then I'm guessing it will have a revival at some point during next season.
I mean, I hope it lasts forever.
Some of them do.
One of the great moments in refereeing history. The Celtics been playing down to Indy's level or the reverse.
I don't think that Indiana's level is as terrible as some people think that it is. If Haliburton's more playing like he was at the better parts of the season, they're flawed. Oh, here we go.
What? Oh my God. Good thing I tweeted that. I mean, did you see that much from Nesmith beforehand?
There was a hand on the shoulder. I think that could have been described as marginal contact to me. I I don't love that being reversed.
Yeah, I didn't see much until Tatum, like, obviously just smashed into his arm,
But
but
that also becomes Neesmith's third foul. So it is more impactful
and
on
it
that.
would that have been Tatum's fourth, or is he on
It would have
four
been
or
his
on
that would have been his
3 now?
third.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, the what I'm looking at still has him on 3, but maybe it doesn't reflect that yet. All right, well, good is that even that good of a challenge? Even so? Like, not a huge payoff. I don't think that would have been a shooting foul.
No, it shouldn't have been. Yeah, it's still pretty low.
Now we have noted though, like putting a foul on Neesmith is valuable. Let's see. Yeah, okay. All right, I see it there. Yeah, he's got the left arm on the shoulder before Tatum hits his arm. Screen away for Tatum now. He then screens for White. Then he pops out. White finds him, passes a little bit deflected, but Tatum goes in for the dunk as the Pacers' rim defense has not been very good. Again, Turner just nowhere to be found defensively. Tatum is guarding Turner. Halliburton switched onto by Tatum. Nesmith looking to post Turner against White. They get it to him. No double team. Horford comes over. Turner goes for the fadeaway and hits.
I don't know if that was deliberate, but Horford was on Nemhard that entire possession.
Yeah, that is interesting to see whether that's maybe they're trying to shut off the water on Siakam. We'll keep an eye on that. Here's Tatum. Nesmith getting over the screen. Pick and pop White. And Nemhard a little late on the rotation, but he had to come off the open side. Pacers lucky to escape that one. Here's Halliburton, picked up by Tatum, trying to post Turner against Holiday. Instead, they go to the opposite side. Nemhard turns the corner, has to kick it out last to Turner. Turner with a good quick decision. Nesmith into the lane, and he missed the layup, though. Celtics with Turner guarding Brown. He blows by him. Good help by Nemhard, but no secondary rotation to White, and he drains the three.
If Boston can get by their initial cover, they're getting such good looks. And it's not that hard to get by.
Halliburton has been pretty much non-existent as Nemhard again misses that. I mean, Nemhard has been probably responsible for 5 attacks for every one by Halliburton as the Pacers bench brigade heads to the table. Tatum goes through 2 guys, and again, they foul him. Just a bailout there. He didn't really have much and goes through the arm. Is that going to be 4 on Nesmith?
That is 4 on Nesmith, and it's the 4th team foul.
Yeah, as much as I like that help from Nemhard, he is coming off the next pass, and 2 other Pacers were heading to help, and that's part of why there's no rotation to White. We've seen the Pacers confused on their rotations a number of times. Yeah, ideally, that's Nesmith rotating if Nemhard is going to be the one to do that, but and Nemhard really likes to make those strong rotations. That's probably his best feature as the defender. Now Pritchard sets the screen. Halliburton has to hedge out, and Toppin can't get over it, so Tatum goes right to his spot. There's an example of how Obi Toppin just not going to be good enough in pick and roll defense, defending the guy with the ball. It's now McConnell in as they waited a little bit longer than they did early. Here's Halliburton into the lane, kicks it out. No, it's deflected. And you see the help off at McConnell.
And this is Obi Toppin on with Miles Turner, which is a combination we haven't actually seen that much in these playoffs. We have seen it at times, but not that much.
Well, we didn't see it much in the first because Turner immediately got in foul trouble.
But even in the Knicks series, I don't think we saw it that much.
I think we did. I think that was like the Siakam would go out early as Turner steps back on the baseline out of bounds, and that's a huge 3. Yeah, I think that was the normal rotation, was just Toppin coming in for Siakam around this time. And then Siakam would come back in to replace Turner. Now Tatum on a blow by again, kicks out. Brown is wide open for three. And yeah, this Toppin guarding Tatum is a disaster. But with Nesmith out and Siakam also out, they just like their perimeter defense is atrocious right now. They got, as Halliburton's going to take a three and miss. McConnell somehow, or sorry, that's Shepherd getting the rebound. Toppin fires the three. That time it's McConnell. He goes to the corner. Good closeout by Pritchard. Into the post. It's now Turner against Tatum. Turner across the lane. Goes to the step back. No challenge there from Tatum, but Turner missed it. A fourth fourth chance for the Pacers. Shepherd's three-pointer. That's not close. And finally, Boston has it.
And this is O'Shea Brissett on the floor, so he is ostensibly the center.
Yeah, it looks like Cornette is not truly available, and Brichette's going to get an easy dunk. As Rick Carlisle needs to talk about it, the Indiana defense has been in shambles since Nesmith and Pascal Siakam went out.
25-20 third quarter in favor of the Boston Celtics, so they've expanded the lead up to 11. And I can't shake the feeling. You never know where a game is going to go. We've pronounced a lot of them before, that this is one of those, the Pacers don't look bad, but they end up losing it anyway. And so you're just like, well, they're not going to win 4 out of 5. Like it feels like that kind of game to me, where they can win games in the series, but they probably won't win enough games in the series. And that's okay. It's just disappointing.
Yeah, let's see. Nesmith is he got that foul, didn't he? Yeah, so he's got 4 fouls right
Correct.
now, and so that challenge by Mazzulla, which I was extremely critical of, ends up being massive.
It's a good point from Andrew. Why aren't the Pacers daring O'Shea Brissett to shoot similar to what they were doing against Horford in Game 1? They should.
It should also be daring Horford to shoot, similar to what they were doing
Also true.
Horford in Game 1.
Just tuned in. Did the Celtics find a real thing with this small ball lineup? I don't think so. I mean, first of all, this is a necessity because of Cornette getting hurt. We just saw the Pacers get like 4 offensive rebounds on the same trip down the floor.
Yeah, although I don't know that was, those were all kind of long rebounds that bounced out and the guards just went and got them. Like, that's not an issue of like not having enough size on the floor.
Fair. I also, though, Brissett, it's not like he's an unbelievable shooter, but so I think that it shouldn't change the coverage. And the funniest part about that is it shouldn't change Indiana's coverage at all. Like they should just be doing the same thing that they should also be doing the other minutes. Is Halliburton's defense more physical limitations or mental mistakes? I would say at times it's more effort than either of those two things. And then at other times,
I mean, I don't know whether you want to say like toughness and effort are the same things. I mean, they're certainly related to one another, but and strength as well. Like, he's got pretty good length. Like, I don't think his feet moving laterally are bad. He's got good anticipation. Yeah, so the small ball lineup, I think it's looking okay so far, and interesting that it's been Brissett rather than Hauser. I think they saw that didn't work very well at the end of the first.
I still want to see them try Xavier Tillman. I'm probably going to be saying it forever.
He's just so bad on offense.
Boston up to a 117.7 first shot half court offensive rating in this game. They have a 57 offensive rating in transition per cleaning the glass.
Boston does?
Yes. And I'm sure Rick Carlisle is drafting the memo right now that the Pacers only have 6 free throw attempts so far in the game. But as was the case in Game 1, I don't think they've done too much to draw those free throw attempts.
What happened to the Xavier Tillman that was hitting corner threes for Memphis a couple of years ago? I think he hit one in that play-in victory over the Warriors. That was like the biggest shot at Memphis this season. It's like the only one he's ever hit. Toppin being hounded by Pritchard. McConnell into the lane with Halliburton getting a break. Siakam is back on the floor to help the defense. Turner trying to post up. They haven't really gotten much out of that. It's made things pretty stagnant. And there's another steal. Brown, Siakam trying to run him down. I thought he pushed him in the back a little bit too, and he did. That's going to go to the line for Brown and a chance for a three-point play and push it to a 14-point Boston lead.
And Jaylen Brown, it hasn't been as prominent at times as what he did in the first half. He's, I think, at a 9-point quarter already, and he's played reasonably well.
I mean, Brown, he's been playing unbelievably physically and aggressively there. I mean, he basically just ran right through TJ McConnell to get that loose ball. Anytime Halliburton's on him, he's just going right to the cup, knocking him backwards. It's really been a dominant performance by him, except at the foul line.
Yeah, I think that's his third miss already.
Yeah, Pacers have not gotten much in transition here. Here's McConnell again, and that was a pretty decent contest by Tatum, but McConnell scores that one. Like, that's, if you're actually getting a good hand up on McConnell there, I think you feel all right about it. Oh, nobody's guarding Pritchard to the corner. Throw it to him.
That's
what
bad.
Atrocious defense that was. Rick Carl, I'm sure, would love to call a timeout, but he's already called too many angry timeouts in this game. Tatum switching on to McConnell. Yeah, I think going with the 5 smalls is also solid here to guard McConnell. Turner stepping out after Brissett helped on the McConnell drive, and nice job by Turner making him pay. Toppin trying to pressure full court against Pritchard.
Okay.
Pritchard getting into the lane on him, pump fake, easy layup.
What was that defensive possession?
Well, and again, Turner's not really there for help. But when you give up a blow by straight up top, it's hard to have your help principles. Siakam, they put Brown on Siakam to shut off his water. Now Brown switching on to McConnell. Nothing going here with 10 on the clock. Post up by Toppin. White gets the block. He can't believe the foul call.
Ooh, from our angle, I don't love that call. Other angle, could see it.
And yeah, no. White, what's happening here? I guess Turner, Toppin, they just don't know. Like, clearly Siakam should be on Brown. But yeah, I mean, who would you have? That's probably Toppin. Yeah, it's Toppin because Toppin guarded him on the next possession. Up the
next time.
Yeah, so that was Toppin. Yeah, because you don't want Turner on Pritchard. You want Turner on Brissett. And Toppin can't make that free throw either.
Yeah, you don't need to send the memo to the league when your guys aren't even making the ones they get.
Yeah, down to 2:04 remaining in the quarter, and Toppin gets that free throw. Get it into Braun. He can bring it up against the Pacers' pressure. He's just going to try to go right by Siakam here. Harried from behind nicely by Shepherd, and they'll reset in their half-court offense. Off the Tatum screen, they switch it. Tatum now has Shepherd on him. Tatum holding the ball, now gets into his move. Got pretty good separation there and scores. That's, at least once he started to go, it was a decisive move. Boston back up 14. Brown has been excellent on Siakam, who has killed pretty much every other matchup. McConnell tried to go backdoor, but Tatum was just waiting right there. McConnell still on the ball. 7 to shoot. Now Siakam will try. This is a very unstructured offensive possession. I think that's probably the right call on Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is saying that he just hit me in the chest with the forearm.
I don't think he did. He wasn't in the path. But that's only a fresh 14. I believe that's Boston's first foul in the last 2 minutes.
It's just, if he's right here, it's tough to call a foul on a guy when the only contact is between the offensive player's forearm and his chest. Let's see if they can get it for us here. Nah, that was a foul. McConnell across the lane over Brissett. Good contest by Brissett, but they're going to get a late foul call here in favor of McConnell, and he'll make a rare trip to the free throw line.
Let me see this. Oh no, they're calling this the rebounding action.
The loose ball foul on top and underneath. Yeah, I don't know that needed. Maybe, do you think he could have gotten that? I don't think he could have gotten that regardless. But yeah, that's an over the backbreaker by Holiday. And they go all the way down to the other end and give the Pacers some free points. Or excuse me, no, it's not an over the backbreaker. That was an offensive rebound. Sorry.
Still involves the back. It actually the push was a little bit early. It's soft, but I'm mostly okay with it.
Yeah. And Toppin missed that one.
He split both of his pairs of free throws.
Shepherd trying to pressure Tatum. Yeah, when Tatum brings the ball up, it leads to a lot of this shit. He's not even going to pass it here, but he is going to score on the exact same move he used last time on Shepherd. Now McConnell across the lane, lobs it up. Beautiful play by Brissett against his old Pacers teammates. Holiday has Turner on him, wants to get it back to Tatum, who's hot. Guarded by Toppin. Siakam trying to come over. Tatum fires the three. Never really tried anything. Great rebound by McConnell, and he's going to get Toppin a dunk here.
And that's typically not on Jason Tatum. Usually the guy who shoots it isn't responsible for the guy coming back, but no other Celtic was nearby.
All right, because Braun going to try for a 2-for-1 here. They let him just roll it up. He's going to fire it over Siakam. Just barely squirts out. 7-second differential here. They did probably get a 2-for-1, although the quality of that was perhaps a bit bad. Now 3 Pacers over on the opposite side. They try to run an open side pick and roll. Toppin comes over the strong side to balance the floor. Tatum is with him. 4 to shoot. Toppin off the dribble from mid-range, and that was atrocious.
Why aren't they pushing?
Yeah, really. 5 seconds left. Brown goes to the pull-up jumper, and it misses. Yeah, that was
of all people, the person who forced the shot to get the 2-for-1 should be like, "Hey, it's the other part of this."
Exactly. So Pacers, a lot of work to do here, and to me, that 4th foul on Nesmith was an absolute killer. They just, after that point, they just don't have the personnel to defend on the perimeter anymore.
Celtics seem to think any 2-for-1 shot, no matter how forced, is a good shot. Do the analytics back that up? I believe the answer is
it's pretty close. Yeah, that's pretty close to being true. I mean, yeah.
It has to be pretty bad for it to go there, because
and I would say 2 of the shots, the 2 shots that they got are better than 1 quote unquote good shot, which, by the way, there's no guarantee you're going to get a good shot if you wait longer.
Right.
And that's part of it too, is that if you shoot it before you can turn it over, like, that has some value too.
It's in some ways an analog to the quick 2 argument, where people assume the 2 is more automatic than it is. And so you're not comparing it. You're not comparing it to a perfect outcome. You're comparing it to a practical outcome. If you're ever as open as Pritchard, should you shoot that corner 3 or cut to the basket? You should shoot the 3 if you can make it, if you have a reasonable chance, because the other people are just as close to the basket, if not closer, than you are. And maybe they're reacting a little bit slowly, but they're looking in the correct direction. So take the 3 if you have it. The 3 is wide open. Feels like Brissett's been good enough to go away from Cornette, even if he's healed in Game 3. Definitely worth having as an option. I worry that defensively there can be some limitations with it, but if you pick your spots, I think it could be okay. And I've been very critical of the Cornette on Halliburton on minutes, and so maybe Brissett is a change of pace in those minutes if you need Horford to not be completely tied to Halliburton.
Just catching up on a few stats here.
Do you think the Pacers need to tighten up, shorten the rotation for the rest of the series? It's pretty short. I mean, I think they need to have a 5 in the rotation. I personally don't believe that 5 should be Isaiah Jackson. I think you could do it in a couple different ways.
I mean, I thought he was a good pick for the Knicks series.
Yes.
Because they weren't playing with like 5-out spacing. The Celtics just put you in too many pick and rolls, too much spacing. Like, his pick and roll defense is bad, his communication is bad, and the Celtics aren't as reliant on getting to the rim as the Knicks. So I would say if as much as I could get away with it, I would try to just go Siakam and top. I mean, the big guy that they can't replace is Nesmith. Like, there's so many of their lineups require Shepherd to be the 3, and that's just in these lineups with 3 tiny guards, none of whom can guard any of the Celtics wings, have been pretty disastrous, starting with the end of overtime in game 1.
The odds of me mentioning that the Pacers should try to get Najee Marshall with the mid-level exception instead of retaining Obi Toppin on when we do their offseason preview are exceedingly high.
Well, I mean, maybe could they figure out a way to do both? Probably not, huh?
Probably not. No, especially not with Halliburton getting the extra $7 million.
And McDermott is in now. That's not going to help
Oh boy,
much. Again, that's a Nesmith on 4 fouls thing. And you're down by 13. Just bring Aaron Nesmith back in the game. If he fouls out, he fouls out. You're going to just lose now anyway, as Siakam hits another impossible jump shot over Horford.
Who are they going to put Doug McDermott on?
Sam Hauser. But now, I mean, they should put Hauser in the screening action immediately. Like, they just need to realize this faster. Yeah, now here it comes. McDermott trying to hedge. No, he switches. Late clock. Maybe because it's late clock, this will work okay. Tatum, good dig by Siakam. Tatum didn't get off the ball fast enough. Hauser does get it off with great footwork. And there's 3 Celtics there for the rebound. Pritchard moving without the ball. Jackson steps out. Pritchard going right through McConnell. Now Hauser eluding Siakam off the ball. And Hauser, he's gotten good looks, just hasn't made them in this series. Now Tatum on the drive. He got tripped from behind. Count it. What a finish.
And Jason Tatum he's too deliberate in these circumstances, but he'll be able to cook if they can get Doug McDermott on him. Almost anyone can cook Doug McDermott.
Yes. McConnell steps in his path, trips him, and that just shows you the amazing stride length of today's NBA players, where that trip occurs, 20 feet from the basket, and he's still able to finish with a layup.
It's past the free throw line.
McConnell gets Pritchard switched on him. Then he goes for that snug pick and roll against Jackson. But McConnell just hasn't had the touch. They've done a really good job of contesting those. Back to Tatum. Quick release 3. Pritchard on the glass. And Pacers have it. Siakam looking to push against Holiday. Holiday just slows him down. Beautiful defense. Here's McConnell going at Hauser. And Hauser got the block. Even that matchup not profitable for McConnell right now. Here's Hauser again. Back to Holiday. 2 Pacers again rotate. That was terrible defense.
The Boston Celtics are ahead by 17 points. The Pacers have outscored them in Tyrese Halliburton's minutes.
Backing down is Siakam out to McConnell, not being guarded. Shepherd, good job by Hauser getting over the screen. Now Hauser, good job switching back onto McConnell. And then the pass just gets knocked away. Tatum has the size advantage of McConnell. Nembhard is going to the table. Tatum backing down. McConnell left it well short. That was good late help from Jackson. Tatum probably should have made a pass there. Now Siakam, Drew cuts him off. Drew cuts him off again. Double team. No, they're going to get a foul on Drew. Can't believe it.
And yet again, a rough start to the fourth quarter. In this case, the equivalent of the second quarter. Remember, that was the brutal stretch that largely defined this game.
And I question, Danny, whether McConnell's effectiveness in the first 2 rounds was due to the opposition or his own growth as a player. I think there are answers on both sides of that. I think he has gotten a lot better, particularly with that mid-ranger. And Halliburton's still not in. No McConnell either. This is insane to not bring Halliburton back in at this point. I mean, and no Nesmith either. Shepherd does get an easy layup there as Jackson walled off the help inside. Miscommunication up top once more by Boston.
And yeah, no Siakam either. This is basically just bench guys. Bench guys and Andrew Nembhard.
Tatum gets Shepherd switched on him. He likes that matchup, but it's late clock. Tatum almost traveled, gets to his spot. Shepherd stops him, and he won't get it off here.
Are they lulling the Celtics into a false sense of security here? Is this like 8-dimensional chess to have like all of your best players off the floor at the same time?
Yeah, you asked in the comments, can Halliburton not play more minutes? I think to some degree, perhaps, but 35 in regulation is enough. But they are just of the belief that McConnell's way better than he is. And now we're going to get an offensive foul.
That was a
Jackson got the off arm up.
Yeah, pretty big swing by Isaiah Jackson's left arm there.
And he would have, that's a big call because he would have had a dunk. And this is going to be a challenge by Rick Carlisle here. And perhaps Tatum does come over him first with the left arm. This will be interesting. If there's zaprudering of like who fouls whom first, like they did on that loose ball foul. Oh shit. Well, that's why Halliburton's not back in. Left leg soreness will not return. And left leg was his hamstring, right? That was the left leg.
Looking. Left, yes. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's not too good. And maybe that's because we're at this point in the game where it's pretty much over. But I'm obviously, you know what I mean? Like, this is left leg soreness. That's his hamstring. Like, I would be surprised if it weren't. They took him out, I think, earlier than they were planning to, too. I'll have to go back and find the play and see if anyone's got it on Twitter.
Yeah, and that tweet from Jared Weiss is definitely concerning. If the halftime workout wasn't going well.
So it must have happened in the first half then. Yeah, I'll have to go back and see if anyone in the comments saw, has anyone has like tweeted that of like when it might have happened. But you have to imagine again. All right, successful challenge, contact to the head by Tatum. But yeah, again, you have to assume, and particularly if it's something where it was bothering him even as early as halftime, you have to assume that this is going to affect his availability for at least some time in the series.
And every other day, the whole way through, is not good for Tyrese Halliburton. And if he can't play in game 3, they are significant home underdogs.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That is a massive bummer.
Hopefully he makes a quick return. I am not optimistic.
that was a delicious flop there by Tatum too. Maybe he can get they could give him a flop warning on that too.
If DiVincenzo didn't get one, I don't know that there will be one.
Well, politically, they could never give him a flop warning on like that game-turning call. Nembhard off the screen. They try to get a Spain pick and roll for McDermott. Nothing doing. Nembhard trying to try Tatum again. He's had good success against him. Pulls back and scores again. And Nembhard has had some moments where he's called back to that game that we did for the strategy stream last year where he just killed the Warriors as the point guard. Here's Hauser kicking back to White, reloads, and hits the three.
Boston getting pretty consistently good looks against an extremely limited Pacers lineup.
Shepard tried to attack Hauser. Hauser has done well defensively here in the second. Now Nembhard double teamed. Holiday comes over. They get the deflection. Luckily goes to McDermott. Three from Shepard is short. White has it. And he fouled. Shepard fouled White from behind there. And probably a good foul because they had transition.
Yeah, that's exactly the type of foul that the transition take foul should address. Like that's what Ben Shepard was doing there.
Yeah, here's Brown going right to the basket. All right, we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow night. What a bummer, man! Yet another just terrible injury in these playoffs. But yeah, this and Boston. I think Boston, if Halliburton doesn't return, Boston can like officially write that they had the easiest path to the NBA Finals in history. We'll have to actually go back and check that, but I'd be hard pressed to think of an easier one. I'm sure like the West really sucked in the 80s, so probably some of those Lakers seasons. But when you consider who's actually available, this is pretty insane. All right, we'll catch you all tomorrow night. Thanks for joining us.